So this is like our, what, 15th panel now we've done, I think?
16th.
16th, is it? So we were just talking on the way over here. What is it that we haven't talked about yet this weekend? Because I was like, you know, we've talked about, you know, all the usual stuff like what our favorite characters are and all that stuff. But I'm just curious. I'm curious what the topics are going to be this morning. I would like to make sure that we have very interesting questions this morning. Stuff we've never been asked before, but aren't totally ridiculous.
This is a challenge now.
This is a challenge to you.
Something that we've never been asked.
That's right. So let's get started here.
There's certain questions.
We try.
Well, yeah. There's certain questions that get asked almost every VA now. Like, how do I get into voice acting? Do you guys ever get tired of like hearing some of those same questions over and over?
Some, yeah. But I liken it to a long run of a theater gig. I've done long runs of shows. I did a play for 15 months. It's my job. And it is my job, as much as sometimes you get to the theater and you kind of go, I'm going to do the same thing and sing the same song and, you know, have the same stage fight or whatever, because we would always fight if we were on stage together.
Clearly.
It's the people that are in the audience haven't seen it before most of the time. And the people in the audience paid good money to come see it. So I put my best effort into answering the questions. And that's probably like, oh, Little Mary Sunshine, so professional, but that's what I believe. So yes, we get asked the same questions, and yes, it does get a little boring to say my favorite character is Revy, because it is, and it always will be. Well, maybe not actually.
You don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know that actually. So maybe that would change someday, right? So yeah, that's a completely honest answer. No. Trevor?
I got asked the same questions over and over and over again, like everybody else. And my response my response to it was, my lips are still waking up. My response to it was to make a podcast called Voice Print with Trevor Devall and guests, where I basically bring the experience of the convention, or at least the question part of the convention, to the listener. So my podcast is me interviewing my colleagues, and I took questions from the audience. So I would announce who the guest is, and then people would write in their questions, and I would ask the questions on the show. So that was my response to it, because they're like, you know, we got asked these questions so many times, why don't we just answer them once and for all in a podcast? So you can get it for free if you're interested. Voice Print with Trevor Devall and guests. It's on iTunes. It's also at my website, trevordevall.com.
It's very funny.
Yes, and Maryke was, what, my third guest or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
I got a question from Maryke. Did Taco Tuesday, did Equestria Girls stole Taco Tuesday from the Lego movie, or was it the other way around?
In my personal opinion, there's a restaurant in Vancouver that is called Taco Time. And I've lived in Vancouver for 10 and a half years, and as far as I remember from listening to the radio, they have Taco Tuesdays. So it stole it from that, in my opinion.
Oh.
So I didn't actually, it didn't occur to me that it was something unusual. I kind of thought Taco Tuesday was just a phrase. Anyways, but saw how much it like made everybody laugh, so.
Sonata inspired crazy glue at everyone at Canterbury High.
Who did that?
Lord Business, the Lego movie, shoot the Lego
Oh.
That's right.
I'm ashamed I never saw the Lego movie.
Really?
Never also saw Equestria
Good.
Girls.
It's good.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I'll see it. Okay, no, thank you. The saxophone had his hand up forever.
I was just wondering, y'all ever play any musical instruments, or do you have any favorites?
Do you play?
Yeah.
What do you play?
The piano and the flute, and I took singing lessons. Although all those things are, like if there was a back burner of a back burner, that's where they would be living.
You play the flute?
Yeah.
So we could have been jamming to old Jethro Tull this whole time?
We could have. That could have been a great panel.
Wow.
Especially with my inept current flute playing. And I've had actually the immense pleasure of seeing Trevor in a musical that he created, wrote, produced, I believe. You can tell me. You
Yeah.
can say the credits of it. And he's fabulous.
Oh.
Guitar, singing, and there's more, I'm sure, instruments that I probably don't know of. But yeah, this is where the musical talent lies. I plinked away as a kid and teenager. But
Whereas
this is really good.
I blink away on stage, but there's no difference. I thank you for that, but
You're welcome. It was a really good show.
I would never call myself a musician. I was always the guy that grabbed the guitar around the campfire at 3 in the morning after half a bottle of rum. That was me. And I could play every song as long as I could reduce it to the chords of G, C, and D, which I can. Reduce any song to those 3 chords. It's quite a talent. So, I have great respect for what I consider to be proper musicians, people that really know. But I'm totally self-taught, and I play entirely by ear. So I taught myself how to play the piano and the drums at one point, and the guitar. But I can't do like Eddie Van Halen stuff. I can just, chord it up. CCR, that's more my style than Eddie Van Halen. So yeah, though, I haven't played in a while. I'm trying to get together a little group in Los Angeles, but not a lot of people in metropolitan LA are really into Irish folk music. Hard to believe, but apparently that's the case. So
it's disappointing.
Yeah.
And you play the sax? Awesome.
Nice.
Why be the picker?
You the picker.
Go ahead. Yellow t-shirt.
A music question. If you're in a role and you're not singing that character, what kind of coordination do you have to do with the VA that does sing that character?
There's actually no coordination. It's kind of weird. I don't know what happens in the process whether they try and voice match in Fiesta Equestria, that's right. In Equestrian Girls, I'm not the singing voice of Sonata. And I don't know whether they played a voice ref of my record for her, the person that did the singing, or they didn't do that vice versa. And I don't know if they recorded the singing before they recorded the actual movie, the animation part of it. I don't know how that works, so I don't know. Trevor, do you know? There's never been any coordination that I've been aware of.
You're talking specifically with the songs?
Yeah.
Well, there was that forgotten episode where the song "I Can't Help Falling in Love" by Elvis Presley was sung by Iron Will, but I don't think that ever got.
Wise men say only fools rush in.
I just did that right now. I just made that up right now.
So creative. It's so spontaneous.
You're like my mother. You're so creative and spontaneous.
You missed the sarcasm, though.
I didn't know that you're exactly like my mother. If you're so yes.
That's actually might be an interesting tangent because Trevor does not have showbiz family roots. Same here. No. My mother was very you do what you like, but oh my God, it was almost embarrassing for her when I, as a child, was a performer. She was kind of like, this is just strange. My dad didn't even want me to perform. He just thought it was not a good thing to do with one's life, and some level, perhaps he was right. No, I'm just joking. So yeah. You?
Well, I have no showbiz in my family at all. Like my older sister is a farmer. My older brother was an electrical engineer. My other sister is I call her the pharmaceutical Gestapo. She worked for the pharmacy companies, going around making sure all of the labs are running on time, running on schedule. You will get the pills out correctly. And then my other sister's a vet who does sort of acupuncture on animals, so it's all with. And then there's me. But yeah, I don't come from a showbiz family at all. But I was the youngest of 5, and there's an 8-year gap between me and my next sibling. So by the time I came around, my mother was like, "Yeah, you wanted to be an actor? Great, that'll be different. What the hell? Why not?" So yeah.
Did that answer the musical question? Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, do the picker.
How flamboyant can you make a voice?
How flamboyant?
You are asking for now. We're going to be here that's the rest of the hour now, guys.
I'm not sure if I understand the question. I'm not, flamboyant. Well, let's see. We could sort of go all sorts of places. We could go full Ethel Merman, right, if we wanted to. Or, you know, I think that my Dookie on Johnny Test, my version of Dookie, is straddling the line sometimes. Yeah. You know, Johnny, now! Yeah, let's get a little up there now. Yeah, I mean, it's early for me right now, so.
It's pretty flamboyant, though. I approve.
There's, you know what? Actually, do you guys know who Ed Wynn was? Ed Wynn had a very, very famous voice. And every time I do a cartoon, if there's an incidental character they want me to play, I immediately leap to that voice. So it's like, we're doing Guardians of the Galaxy a couple weeks ago, and they say, okay, Trevor, we want you to play security guard number 2. And I go, okay. I'm pretty sure we've got a sound like this. Security guard number 2. And they're like, maybe not for this character. We're thinking maybe something less that, more something good. Turn down the suck, turn up the good. But I actually got a chance to use that voice in an episode of Dinosaur Train, not that long ago.
You did?
Yeah, I said, and it was a total joke, because they said, we want you to play this character, and I went, what if he sounded like this? And they went, yeah, no, that's good. I was, really? Couldn't believe it. Best day ever.
Those days are awesome. When you do get to do something that you've like had this little pet little thing that you wanted to do forever, and they actually want you to use it.
Yeah, that's cool. I have a real penchant for the 30s and 40s. I grew up with, I was a big World War II buff when I was a kid, and I knew everything about it. But I love the style of those days. I long for the days when men leave the house. You always leave the house with a suit and a fedora on. You know, there was a class to that. That you know, this era is a little more casual now, but there was a formality to that era that I really like. Maybe not so much for the women. The women were a little buttoned down, a little tightly, but yeah, no, I look at films from that era, I look at fashions from that era, and I just think, yeah, that was great. I mean, it sucks about the war. That's not a good part of the era, but boy, they looked fabulous.
I'm not a big fan of, this is gonna sound so ridiculous, I'm not a big fan of the past. I know.
You're too busy living in the moment.
I'm so in the moment.
You're living in the now.
Yeah, I just think things need to keep getting better. That's part of my thing. There's so many things that need to be fixed, and so that's to me. But my hair would have been so great in like pre-Raphaelite types. You know, like crazy, frizzy, kind of curly hair. So and like corsets and stuff like that. So I always look at that kind of stuff and go, that's probably when I should have lived, not now. Thanks. Welcome. Brony hat, and then the brother.
What was your favorite My Little Pony character that you played on the show? Or movie? Or any
Well, I liked Gilda better than Sonata, personally. Doesn't mean I didn't like Sonata.
Who was Sonata?
She was in the Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks. She wasn't so bright.
Equestria Girls Rambo Rocks?
Wouldn't that be amazing?
I never heard of that version.
That would be amazing. Yeah, she was. So there were 3 like evil type girls, and she was obviously the one that didn't really know what was going on. Just sort of went along with her friends.
Right.
Was evil, but didn't know really.
Do you ever play good guys?
No.
Do you ever? No, you're always bad.
Well, I do sometimes. I do sometimes play like really sweet, innocent, like nice little things, creatures, and girls. Not so often.
Not so, no.
Not
Because
so
even on
often.
Johnny Test, you're
Snarky.
you're not, but you're snarly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a bit. Yeah, it's funny too because you would think by listening to me that is not what I'm going to be playing.
Yeah.
Right, just by listening to my natural speaking voice.
Yeah.
But I guess the little attitude is there, so
Yeah.
easily brought out. Anyway, you now.
Ironwell. No question. Fancy Pants is great. They're all great. Hoity Toity was fun. They're all fun. But Ironwell, yeah, he gives me great comfort in the night. I don't know what that means.
Yes, you.
Sonata Dusk suddenly becomes a friendship student, like for example, I don't know, Princess Celestia decides to, for some reason, decides to recruit her as her new friendship student. So,
Oh my god.
what would you be her? Could you do her
Yeah.
voice doing her first friendship report, like about anything?
Well, so I don't watch the show. So I don't really know what a friendship report is. But she would do something like this. She'd be like, once upon a time, there was a girl. What was the story again? That's what I think she would do. Isn't it terrible that I don't know what a friendship report is? Oh, okay. Dear Princess Celestia, today I learned... What I learned? Thanks, Adam.
That's very helpful. I didn't, I remember that. For the few episodes I've seen. Yeah, the moral of the story.
Dear Princess Celestia,
You're getting a bonus.
today I learned nothing. Ha ha ha! Nothing at all.
Like a Seinfeld episode. No learning. Yeah. Didn't remember stole. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, first time I heard about both of y'all was watching Dusty Catman this Brody. I know that you were on there just recently, I believe you were a few years back. Do y'all have any other charitable kind of things coming up that, or I don't know?
Yeah, no, I think that I actually used to volunteer a ton at a youth drop-in center and also with a youth organization who did stuff in the community. And by stuff, I mean they created projects for themselves, and we facilitated. So they wanted to do, for example, one year we did the 12 days of giving. And so the kids wanted to go down the Commercial Drive, which is a street in Vancouver, and put meters in, put dimes into all the expired meters, which it's kind of against the law, actually. But we said sure. And then at a youth drop-in center that I volunteered, but both organizations have closed. So I actually haven't done any volunteering in a long time. But it's always great when I do one of these things for Dusty, or somebody else will ask me to do something like an interview or something, and we do ask for donations, and it's just great. And I always pick animal foundations every time I've done something like that, and my husband and I donate money to a lot of organizations in Vancouver and elsewhere for animal help. So, but I haven't done anything recently.
Yeah, I haven't done anything recently either. I'm trying desperately to come up with something clever to say, and I have nothing. I have nothing.
You asked for new questions.
That's true.
These are, guys, you guys are living up
Yeah.
to the request. I'll say
that's
that
good.
much.
This is good.
I will make a plug about the charity auction, though, that we're
There we
doing.
go.
It's actually an animal event. The Houston, the name is slipping, but it's like one of Matt's favorite charity organizations. Dory's Darlings, and it's a rescue,
Oh.
cat rescue.
I have a rescue cat.
So that's what we're going to be doing. It will be in here at, I'm thinking, does anyone have their schedule on them? I think
We
it's
signed
2:30.
stuff for it. We signed stuff for it.
Yeah. There was a shirt and stuff. So that is what
Yeah, that's the
I'm
most
doing.
recent thing you did.
I knew I was doing something good in the world. I just couldn't remember what it was.
You're so modest. That's why.
Clearly, I was doing something in the world.
Wait.
Wait.
Oh, and I was talking to you last night and didn't even say goodbye properly. I was hoping I would see you today. There was a VIP cocktail party, and we were chatting for 45 minutes, and then all of a sudden it all disappeared, and I didn't say goodbye to you. So goodbye and hello, good morning. Yes.
When you voice act for parts that aren't like the main parts of the show, has there ever been a part that you wish would come back, or do you usually just like, oh, I'm done with that character?
It depends on the character. There's, some of them are super fun that you wish. Again, Iron Will for me. I think you should have some series, frankly. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times most of my career is doing guest star roles. I'm not very often the lead. Sometimes it happens. I'm one of the leads along with Maryke on Johnny Test. I'm Rocket Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a big one. But most of my career is guest stars. So for me, I'm very much used to doing a character that shows up for one episode and then is forgotten by everyone, except for all the fans, it seems. It's very strange to me that, because, like My Little Pony is a perfect example when I would do these little guest star roles, because that's what they were to me. Oh, little guest stars, it's a day on this show, fine. I go, I do it, I walk away. Well, that was fun, and then forget. And then a year later, oh, you're being asked to come to this convention because this character was very really? Oh, that's great, but really? Yeah.
There's actually a show that I did a long time ago in the beginning of my career, doing VO, and it's called Freaky Stories. Has anybody ever seen that show? It may be only Canadian. It is such a great show because, and it went away. You, as an actor, the entire episode is narrated by you. So you are the narrator, and you play all the characters in the show, and it's always about a weird story. So my episode was about a kid who was going to the school dance and ended up with a pimple on his face and went to a crazy German doctor who I played. Like I played the kid and the doctor and the narrator. The zit cream shrunk his head. So anyways, I thought it was such a cool show, and as an actor, it's such a great thing to be able to do that whole thing. 22 minutes just of you. Your characterizations.
And to play what is obviously a true story must have been.
Well, it was, absolutely.
Yeah, based on actual fact.
What's your class in the party? Mage, cleric, fighter, warrior, rogue?
Can I be the DM?
The little tiny mascot that appears from time to time in those things? They're not really a character. They're just this little thing that flies over the person's shoulder. That's who I'd be.
Okay, I think we're kind of running out of time. I was gonna steal the last question.
There's 1 and 2. Can we do these two? Because these two had their hands up. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Trevor, you okay?
Yeah. Is there another panel in here right now? Okay. Okay. Because I know we started late, so we can keep going if you want, but it doesn't matter. So in the back? Is that where you want to go? Oh, okay.
How hard was it to slip into that role when you had to do it again recently to get back?
It wasn't particularly hard. They play we had a voice ref. We talked about that in another panel where they play you what you did previously. Even if it was the episode before or on the first day of recording, the ref is from your audition so that you know kind of what you did. But actually, that's a great question because what was hard for me is when she kind of was like this much nice. I was like, I don't know how to actually do this. I don't know how to do this. And Trevor, I don't know if you had the same experience. This person is, she's sharp all the time, yelling, that kind of, and then all of a sudden she had to, her language changed, her attitude changed, and the voice morphed. Because it's just not the same thing anymore. So I was really trying to hold on to the sound and get it into the niceness so that people weren't like, and maybe they were, kind of like, oh, did the voice actor change when Gilda got nice? So that was challenging for me. Not the mean stuff, whatever she says, like, hi, all that kind of abrupt, mean stuff. But the nicer stuff was like, oh, yeah, yikes. Yeah, good question. Thanks. And then you had your hand up.
This is more of a fun question, but if you could become 20 princesses, how would you use your power?
Pony princesses.
On the show?
No, in life. We too Trevor and Maryke.
What's that? What'd you say?
I guess it's the sparkles I like the most. That's what I love about this job. Being a pony princess is freaking awesome. Because I can crush the peasants under my hoof. I can maintain the social order the way it's supposed to be. Princess scum.
And my job as princess would be to capture and corral him. And then my second active duty would be to change the tax structure in this country so that public schools are funded not according to the neighborhood that you live in, but by all the taxes that are collected are dispersed equally amongst every public school so that everybody gets the same opportunity to education. Sorry, that's my little political rant for the day.
So you'd be the first socialist princess.
Fool me once.
Fool me once. You're not gonna fool me again. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, well, first of all, as a public school teacher, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Devall, I played League of Legends a lot. I played Chase a lot. I am very sick of hearing you say energize. Do you have any video game projects coming up that maybe we should know about to look into?
I do have several video game projects coming up, but I can't talk about them. You know, these video game guys are like so secretive. But there's a couple big ones coming up. There's one coming up. Oh, I don't even know. I don't even know how I can talk about it without giving anything away. Yeah. I can't. No, it's a good question, and I wish I could talk about it. But yeah, there's been a number of them since I moved to LA that I'm now on. And one of them, when I got the job, the funny thing is when you audition for video games, they don't ever tell you what you're auditioning for because it's all super secretive. So they all have code names and all this stuff. So, you know, I go in to audition for something called Project Black. Well, that's just some made up that, you know, it's like Blue Harvest. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a, you know. But then I get there and they say, oh, by the way, okay, so this game is blah. And I'm like, really? Yes, and you're the main bad guy on the new blah game. And I'm like, oh, really? So I'm gonna be on every Xbox ever. Okay, that's good to know. But yeah, I next year. I can tell you next year. But hey, there's nothing wrong with Jace in the meantime. Hammer time.
That's hand.
So let's imagine that you walked into the Sonata script and it had two of your characters interacting. How would you do that?
Well, that happens all the time, where two of our characters are interacting when we're doing a show together. Oh, two of our own characters. Yeah.
Well, Gilda would not have a conversation with Sonata. There would be no way. She would call her. Yeah, she would just be like, you know, Sonata would be like, hi, what are you? Kind of. Hi, what are you? And Gilda would say, you know what? Just get out of here, you dweeb.
Ring, ring. Iron Will Self-Help Hotline, how could I help you?
Yes, the thing is, I'm dreadfully sorry to tell you that here in Canterlot, I seem to have lost some of my confidence. Do you have any pointers on how to help me?
Is this Fancy Pants?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it is. And I got your name from several of the ponies that I know, and they said that you could help me with my self-confidence.
I can't help you. There's nothing I can do for you.
Oh, well, that's dreadfully painful to hear. So I waste your time.
You better be.
Something like that, I don't know.
I got a question.
Anything else? Oh, and then there's one. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, the other day you were doing the comic book reading, and you got to voice a superhero, and you got to voice a superhero's girlfriend. And I think everyone's thought about this at least once in their life. If you could have any superpower, what would it be, and what would you do with it?
I've always dreamt of being color differentiation man. Wait a minute. Slow down. It's a yellow light. Nope, it's red. Stop. Okay, it's green. Go! That would be the best power ever. Or do I already have that power? I think I might already have that superpower. How come there isn't a comic book about me? Well, we talked about this on Thursday, wasn't it? Like the difference. There was two things. People were asked, would you have invisibility or flight?
Yes. And
But obviously-
we learned something interesting about.
Yeah, that you're good and I'm evil, basically.
Basically. And then there was a toast hand as well.
Oh,
Remember
yeah,
that
the
guy with
toast hand, right,
Are
yeah.
you here?
But if we could have any superpower, anything at all, that isn't either invisibility, flight, or making toast with your hand, what would you do? You mean like in life, right now, if a radioactive spider came along and doused me in goo from beyond the nebula? I don't know, I'm coming up with a really bizarre backstory, but any power at all? I kind of like, what's his name? Professor X's thing, where he can, read any mind and stuff. Is that telepathy?
I wouldn't like that
Yeah,
one.
I would. Yeah, actually, now that I say it, no, I don't want, because I don't want to hear everybody's thoughts. You can choose which thoughts? Oh.
But how do you choose without hearing them first?
Yeah, exactly.
And then someone's thinking that Maryke is a total idiot. No, I don't want to hear that.
Right. Unless.
I already know now.
Yeah, and it's
My
too late.
God,
Unless
it's
the
too late.
power is super filtering. I
So
can
that-
read minds with super filtering. I know insulting thoughts before I hear them.
So you know that they're going to be insulting,
Yeah.
so just ignore them.
That's right. But then you still know that you're being insulted, so you're still kind of curious, and so you pry into their brain anyway.
Yeah.
And then you see, you're like, oh, why do I always look?
Yeah.
Oh, I always look. I'd be the worst superhero ever. I'd be the most, like Woody Allen superhero.
I was
I'd be
just
so
gonna say that.
neurotic.
Yeah, so neurotic.
I can read your thoughts. I'm really trying not to, but no, there it is again. Oh, why do you all hate me so much? Yeah, that's awful. What is this hell you've condemned us to? With this question.
I do think flying would be kind of awesome. I think that would be kind of cool. I don't know what I would pick. Curing people so that everybody just dies nicely of old age?
Oh.
Aren't I so sweet? I'm not. What else can you do?
Nothing. That's it.
Strength? Super strength?
Oh, that's
I don't
good.
find that very interesting though.
No. Well, that just
That is
blew my
something you have to
mind.
explain to me actually.
So,
Explain.
Is there a percent probability, like if you're gonna win the lottery, you can change that to 100%?
Oh, I do kind of like that one.
I think I would change to like 73%.
So that there's still some surprise?
Yeah, so it's like, it still might not happen. Oh, but it did.
75% of the time you get what you like.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, I might do that and flying.
Probability. Probability woman. Right, but what if, let's say a 75% chance of flight, and then midway through
That's
the
what I was
flight,
thinking.
uh-oh. I roll an 82. All right.
Yes.
were we high school thespians. Good word.
I know, a very good one.
Thespian. I always have to say it like that. Yes, I was a thespian.
Yes.
Drama. In the theater, treading the boards. Yes.
I was, yeah. We both got our...
You can see how good he was.
Yes, you can see. All of my performances were like this. Alas, Poyoric, you him Horatio. Of wit, what infinite jest of line? I don't know what it is. To be or line?
I have a great line story. Do you want to hear this line story?
Yes.
So when you do theater and you're rehearsing, and when you get off book, which means you put the scripts away and you try and stumble around and remember your lines, and it's really quite terrifying. The stage manager's job is to sit at the front of the rehearsal hall, and when you are doing, Trevor and I are doing our scene, and I get a blank look on my face, and I say to the stage manager without not looking at Trevor, I say, line, and they feed you the line. So I was in rehearsal with a friend, luckily, because it was the most hysterical moment. And we were doing our scene, and I had a blank look on my face, and I said, line. No response from the stage manager. So I just assumed I didn't say it loud enough or whatever. And so I'm still looking at my friend, and I said, line. Nothing. And we both, like, turned to the front of the room, and the stage manager was asleep. That's how good we were. We bored the stage manager to sleep. Anyway, so that's a good story. Maybe. But as for high school thespian, I actually started acting professionally when I was a kid. So yes, but I didn't do high school drama because I didn't have time, unfortunately. So I wasn't in the drama club at school. My brother was, bizarrely, but no, not me.
You're too busy making money on it to join it in high school.
Well, yeah, and I went to ballet school too, so I was always I always was in dance classes. I didn't have time.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because I was always filming something or whatever. It was actually more of my dance classes that took up more of my time than the commercials or the.
How old were you when you got your first job in the biz?
14.
14. And what was it?
It was dancing in a one-day stage performance. It was.
One day only.
One day only.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Maryke Hendrikse.
Yes. Yeah. So 14.
Cool. I discovered the stage in the 10th grade. But I'd been on stage since I was, I'd done my first play in grade 10, but I was on stage since I was 5 years old. 5 years old. I too was a dancer. I was the dancer.
We crossed paths because I started dancing when I was 5 too, so you do your little recitals and all that stuff.
Yeah. At 5, I was a Polynesian dancer.
In Edmonton, Alberta.
In Edmonton, Alberta, in the middle of the prairies. Yeah, weird. It's a long story, but.
I bet you it is.
Yeah, but in high school, then I discovered, proper acting. And, yeah, never looked back.
I did, yeah. Yeah, actually, a lot of people have asked me that. Did you play young Gilda? I did. Yep. Just sort of did something that sounded like she might be, when she was young. What's the chant?
Junior speedsters are our guides.
And then I don't know the rest. I can do it for you if you feed me the lines.
So Junior, okay, yeah.
Okay, you do the line part.
Junior speedsters are our guides.
What?
Skybound swords and daring dives. Junior speedsters, it's our quest to someday be the very best.
Sorry, to someday be the very best is your line.
How do you decide what voice to do? Because I know you got it kind of down with people directing you. I've asked because of you, Trevor. Like for your voice, for your Flyers voice in Black Lagoon. So I just tell you to be over the top of it too.
For which voice?
For the Irish voice.
Oh, Legark.
That's one of my favorite characters in all of Black
It's
Lagoon.
mine too.
It's hilarious. He's hilarious.
Oh, thank you. I don't remember whether James, it was James, wasn't it, who directed it? I don't remember whether James, the director, told me that he was supposed to be Irish, or whether I just went, Legark, that sounds Irish, I'm going to make him Irish. Both are equally possible. So how do you choose the voices? I don't know, man. I've been doing this since I was a little kid, so they just come to me. For me, it's very instinctual, right? We'll presume that James didn't tell me that Legark was an Irishman. So I would look at that name, and right away my instinct is Irish. Sounds like Legark to me, right? And then I see the picture and go, yeah, that's right. I'll just make him super crazy and all that, right? So it's very instinctual to me. I don't really think about it too much. There's a lot of actors that are very, very methodical, where they take their scripts the day before session and they go through it and they look at all of the lines and they write out their acting beats and all this stuff, and that's great, whatever you need to do. A lot of actors, first thing in the morning they get up and they sort of read their lines out loud first so they can sort of feel it in their mouth, you know what I mean? Me, none of that. I don't even like to look at the script until I get there. And that sounds very lazy, and it is, but the reason why is because I kind of like to be surprised by what's happening in the script and to keep it fresh, but I'm pretty good at reading cold, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to see anything to sort of understand it right away.
Yeah, like if you saw the reading yesterday of the comic book, we'd never seen that before.
Yeah.
And you could never have told that he hadn't seen it.
Yeah, or you, it was the same thing. And so we're both pretty good at that cold read. We can look at it and go, yeah, as my eyes are scanning the line, I know exactly how this is supposed to be played. Not all the time, but most of the time. So for me, I just go with my gut. If somebody says, yeah, you're playing, well, this actually happened. We were doing a show, what was it called? It was some shows like the Flintstones, but all the characters were dinosaurs. Brian Drummond was one of the leads on that one. No, not Dinosaur Train. This is years ago. Yeah, this is years ago. No, I forget what it was. Anyway, I was coming in to do a guest star on it or something, and I played it. And at the very end of the session, the director said to me, "Oh, by the way, you're also playing the principal of the school." And I went, "Okay, what do you want for it?" "Well, I don't know. He's big. He's a dinosaur. Do something." Okay, so my first instinct, just from a big T-Rex. She said he's a big T-Rex. And because I knew this was kind of like, in my head, this was the Flintstones, but with dinosaurs. So right away, my T-Rex
became sort of a Jackie Gleason type like that. All right, students, listen up.
And the director, as I said something like that, she said, "That's good, but maybe pull back on the Gleason, and if you're going to go with the 30s thing, give me a little more Jimmy Cagney. These are actors out of the 30s and 40s." And I right away knew what that was. I was like, so Cagney, who dirty rat, he sounded like this, see? That was Cagney, see? So now I had to put that in there and give her a little bit of Gleason, and there it was. Students, see? I've got something to tell you now. And that was the voice, and it was just created on the fly. And I love that. I love doing that because, when I go into a session, I never know what I'm going to get thrown. And they say, "Here, you're playing this guy, make something up." "Okay, blah, blah, blah," and you just go. But not everybody's like that. Like I said, a lot of actors have to really, really create something, and that's cool too. There's nothing wrong with that process. But yeah, it's not mine, yeah. Way in the back. Pranksters? Like among the cast? That happens a couple times, but...
I'm trying to think of who is a prankster. I don't know if anybody's really a prankster, and partly it's because we're constantly in session killing ourselves laughing at each other. There's almost no need for levity. Sometimes people prank to get the mood a little bit better. Maybe everybody's having a bad day and somebody's playing a little few jokes and stuff like that. It's so not the atmosphere, strangely enough.
Yeah. If you are having a bad day, you won't be by the time you're finished the session.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's the place you go to cheer up, is to work. You go to work to cheer up. Because, yeah, we're laughing all the time. I did a session in Vancouver last week, and I walked in there and I was like, this is so awesome. I forgot what this is like to just come in and just be so, you know, accepted and so just everything's funny, you know. And yet we're still professional. We still
do the work, and we always, you know, you said that one day, you know, we have 4-hour sessions to call for a pre-lay session. That's how much time you have to do a 22-minute episode of a show. And we're usually done in 2.5 hours. There's the odd time where things get close to 4. And there's Johnny Test on occasion when James wasn't in. We would do Johnny Test in like an hour.
Yeah.
But, yeah, very quick. So
yeah.
I agree.
So yeah, not a lot of pranksters really. Richard Cox, he's done some My Little Pony, I'm gonna guess. He must have.
Yeah, because he was, I just remember that, I don't know which ones, but he was Gilda's grandfather in the latest one where she was nicer.
Richard Cox is a very prolific voice actor, if you don't know him. He was the voice of Inuyasha for you anime fans out there. Ranma as well. Yeah, he's
one of the two? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. So he's done a ton. But he really enjoys making fart sounds all the time. All the time.
Flamboyant voices, the one that Trevor was asked to do
just
earlier?
Just like any sort of gaseous expulsion sound, he does that all the time.
So he'd probably be the prank. If we're going to pick one,
if you had to call one, it would be him,
Oh, there's one. Oh, sorry. No, you were going there.
No, you picked for a while.
Well, now we're back.
Okay, well then here we go.
Oh, no, okay, Adam. Okay, Adam.
Sorry. Yes, it's you, and then you.
Process for getting a role on a show you've already done different than getting a role on a show you haven't done before?
It depends on the show.
Like if you're getting Sonata or I don't know,
I think a little bit, because you have to really make sure that you're being different from what you were.
Yeah.
That's really the big thing.
That's the biggest one for sure. You have to differentiate the voices, so they're not. And you know that's harder than it seems sometimes. You know, but in My Little Pony, I play some pretty extreme sounding characters, so it's easier for me. You know,
Iron Will.
This is Fancy Pants. This is Hoity, Toity. They're all quite different. So, but that's the biggest thing. Yeah. Is it? Oh, it's you. It's you. Okay.
Roles in your past or present where you do get really animated in the sound moves and kind of like Robin Williams always seems very animated, throws hands around, and you couldn't have anything in front of you. Is there any type of role that you would receive to get overly physical in the sound move?
All of them.
I'm flailing away like
Andrew
a lunatic.
Francis. You, Andrew Francis.
Yeah, Brian as well is
Yeah.
very animated. Yeah, all of them. You can't hit the mic, and you can't hit your neighbor.
Your stand.
Yeah, or your stand. I hit my music stand. That's where a script lies all the time. All the time I have to do retakes because I'll be in the middle of doing something, quang, because my hand has hit. And Brian Drummond right here, he's a big hand actor. There he is. There he is. So yeah, we're all like that. We're all inhabit the character physically. So when we're performing, there's a lot of, in LA, a lot of actors sit down, and I don't understand that.
I can't imagine.
I can't imagine it either.
And I'm far less physical. My face is my physicality. I do have, I do move my body and stuff, but my, I'm being shocked at the hospital.
Get those two out of here. They're disrupting the.
Escort them out. And I'm less physical than say Trevor or Brian, but even still, the sitting, I can't imagine.
I know, it's nuts. When we did our very first, it doesn't make any sense to me. When we did our very first record of the first episode of Guardians of the Galaxy in LA, I walked in and there's, Will Friedle there and Kevin Michael Richardson and all of these, awesome actors. And the technician has set up the room so that there's chairs and music stands and all the microphones are set to be sitting. And so they all come in and they all sit down. And I walked in and I said, can you, I'm a stander, can you raise this? And he went, oh, yeah, sure. So he raised it. And then I'm the only one out of 5 people sitting there, you know, they're sitting there. And I'm standing there, and then I could see one by one, they're like, well, I'm gonna stand. Well, I'm gonna stand too then. And now they all stand. So, go Canada, eh? We stand on guard for thee and us.
The last question.
Last
The
question.
plaid shirt had the
All
last.
right.
He had to stand up.
I hope so.
I have a challenge for you.
Here we go.
I have 3 voices that I want you to mix together.
Oh, God.
I want you to mix up Liam Neeson, Nicolas Cage, and George Bush. I also want you to
Okay, we'll have to make this quick.
Liam Neeson is sort of down here like this. He's a bit Sean Connery, a bit. So there's Liam Neeson. Nicolas Cage is sort of one of these guys a little bit. So now you've got that, and you've got this, man. You've got Nicolas Cage and Liam Neeson, and now you throw in a because we're also the President of the United States. Fool me once. You just can't fool me again, or can you?
There you go. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. Great questions. You lived up to it. Thank you so much.